Alright, today we're going to be making lasagna. Alright, we're going to take our ground beef, dump it in our pan. Take our sausage, dump it in the pan as well. Add a little bit of salt for flavor. And we're going to cook this down. Alright guys, as you can see, the ground beef and the Italian sausage is cooking nicely. While this is cooking, we're going to go ahead and start making our cheese filling. Alright, for our cheese filling for our lasagna, we have ricotta, we have a little bit of Parmesan, we have mozzarella, 1 egg, a little bit of Italian seasoning, and a little extra basil. Now we're going to mix this up and put it together. Alright guys, we got our cheese mixture combined. Mix it up and we're going to set this aside for the next step. Alright guys, the ground beef and sausage mixture is cooking nicely. Now we're going to go ahead and prep our pot for our pasta. Have a big enough pot, fill it almost completely full of water, and make sure you add a lot of salt. You want your pasta water to be salty like the sea. Alright, now that our sausage and hamburger is cooked off, we're going to drain it. We have a colander with a glass bowl so we don't pour it down the drain. And we'll go to there. Alright, for this next part, we're going to take our meat mixture, put it in the food processor to make it more evenly dispersed through the meat sauce. Alright, now that we have all of our meat processed and in a uniform shape, we dump it in our meat bowl. And we set this aside for the next step. Alright, the next step, we're going to make our pasta sauce so we can add our meat back to it and make a meat sauce. In the same pan we browned our beef in, we're going to start cooking off our onions. Alright, now that our pan is nice and hot, we're going to first add our onions to cook those till they're nice and translucent. Alright, onions are cooking down nicely. They're starting to get a little tender. At this point of the recipe, you can add your mushrooms, you can add your peppers, your bell peppers, anything of that nature you need to cook off. This is the time you add it to your pasta sauce. All right, after the garlic is cooked off, you want to add your 2 cans of crushed tomatoes, one at a time. All right, at this point, after you add your tomatoes, add your water, crushed red pepper, Italian seasoning, and crushed basil. Give it a good stir, let it simmer for 10 minutes, and recheck the seasoning. Alright, now after you let your sauce simmer down a little bit with all the seasonings and now that you have your sauce simmered down, all the seasonings are in place, give it a taste. If it has a little bit of acidic flavor to it from the tomatoes, add a little bit of sugar. Not a lot, just a little. Alright, now that you can tell our pasta water is boiling away, we want to go ahead and add our noodles. And you just kind of get them to go down. As they get hot, they'll kind of melt a little bit. And you want to cook these till they're about al dente, based off of the packaging directions. Alright, now we're going to take our prepared meat, our prepared sauce, combine it together and make our meat sauce for our lasagna. Alright, once you have them combined in the same bowl, you just mix it up until the meat is evenly distributed through the pasta sauce. Alright, as you keep mixing it, it will look something like this. Now we're not going to use all of this today for our lasagna. This can be put into a Ziploc bag, frozen, and thawed out the next time you have any kind of pasta. Alright guys, as you see here, we're rinsing our noodles off to cool them off to stop the cooking process. After they're nice and cool, we're going to turn the water off. Alright guys, after the noodles are rinsed, we're going to lay them out on clean kitchen towels. We're going to lay them out, kind of get them dried off, and we're going to cut them. Alright guys, this next step is completely optional. I take my lasagna noodles and I cut them into 3 sections. Alright guys, now we have our cheese mixture, we have our noodles, and we have our meat sauce. Now we're going to combine it into our pan to make our lasagna. You start out first with a little bit of sauce in the bottom of your pan. This keeps it from sticking when it's in the oven. Just enough to cover the bottom. Alright guys, we got our sauce in the bottom. We take our pre-cut noodles. We're going to lay them out. Get 3. Now the reason why I pre-cut the noodles is that way when it's cooked, it makes it easier to scoop it out to serve. Alright, after we have our noodles laid down, we're going to take our cheese mixture. The reason why I put it in a piping bag makes it easier to get it out. Put a line on each noodle. Alright, now that we have our cheese mixture on, we're going to take more of our meat sauce and coat on top. Alright, so we got our meat sauce down, a little extra flavor, we take some shredded mozzarella and coat over the top of the meat. And we're going to complete this process till we get to the top, usually about 3 layers for the lasagna. Alright, now that we got to the top layer of the lasagna, as we put our meat sauce on, we're going to put one more layer of noodles. A little more meat sauce to keep the noodles from drying out and burning in the oven. And then we're going to coat the top of the lasagna with lots of mozzarella. Alright, now that we have our mozzarella cheese on top, it's going to go in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Alright, our timer for the lasagna went off. Let's check on it. I believe it is ready to come out. Alright, now that the lasagna is out of the oven, it is very important that it sits and rests for 15 minutes. Alright guys, so this is the finished product of our homemade lasagna from scratch. It's a long process, but it's well worth it in the end.